From millions of Kenyans with all capacities, wenye uwezo tofauti, wewe ulinichagua nikawa naibu yako.
It is not what they say that we take it seriously. It is what they do that justifies their relationship with the head of state.
The clouds are gathering. It's about to rain. And if you don't have an umbrella, there will be a torrent.
For the unnamed targets, the day constituted Black Sunday. To clear all doubt, President Uhuru Kenyatta spoke in his mother tongue. The obvious target being the increasingly restless elected leaders of his native central Kenya, where his deputy William Ruto has been making some irritatingly impactful political forays. Tonight we talk to 3 elected members of parliament from central Kenya to find out what is going on between them and the president, Uhuru Kenyatta. Text us on 22422, use the hashtag Newsnight. On Twitter, we have, of course, in studio, presidential candidate, yeah? Moses Kuria, who is also the Katundu South Member of Parliament. Alice Wahome is the MP, Kandara. And we have Nyeri Town Member of Parliament, Ngunjiri, Wambugu. Thank you all for making time for us this evening. So it is no doubt who the President is addressing or who was addressing. I'll start with you, Honorable Wahome. What have you done to irritate the President?
Hussein, thank you very much for inviting us here this evening. I believe I have done nothing, so to speak, because this was unexpected. Although in terms of what has been going on and coming along, we have seen the President in every moment that he has had the opportunity to actually visit our region. There has been, a pattern that has demonstrated some maybe anger or annoyance or dissatisfaction, and that really has been portrayed to the public. Most of the time it's unexpected because you have seen that in most cases even members of parliament are present. I don't think it is personal. Possibly in my assessment of what the President was addressing on that day, I think he was addressing the whole region, all members of parliament included, and maybe other leaders, so that I don't think it's a specific team.
Those are divisions.
And I believe,
I
believe this was largely directed to his party members.
Jubilee Party.
So
you agree that there are divisions in the Jubilee Party, isn't it?
I believe there are divisions in the Jubilee Party.
I think you were addressing
but there is time. There is a possibility that we can still mend those divisions. So personally, I have done nothing to warrant the.
They say you've done a lot. You're campaigning part of the Tanga team. I'll come to that. I'll respond.
Yes.
Honorable Kuria, who was he addressing? Who was the President talking to?
Well,
and as you answer that, one of the things he said, I'll translate it loosely, is stop going around telling us how you shall rise to power. They should not think that I'm a boy and they will not become anything. There's a lot of interpretation. One of them, of course, is that you want to be president. And whether that could be referring to you as well. But anyway, what was he talking to? Was he talking to you?
My wanting to be president is inconsequential material here. First of all, it's a constitutional right, but as you know, I don't go throwing it into people's faces as if it is the only important thing in this world. There's so many other things in this world. People need to eat, people need to sleep, people need to work, people need to have shelter. But, my wanting to be president is really neither here nor there. Just one person among 50 million Kenyans. So I don't want to be that is the issue.
They just don't want people from the Jubilee Party to talk about that is the concern of the president.
Let's get to the bottom of the matter. Was the president's right? First of all, I really understand where he's coming from. First of all, because he's human. And it is human to be upset and to be angry. I get angry, I walk out of you. Yeah? It is normal. Maybe now you can understand it better. You know why it is really human to be angry. It is normal to be angry. And we all get angry. Does it mean it's a good thing to be angry? Not at all. But it's normal. The president is human and the president got angry.
Did he have to get angry?
Well, was he right to be angry? Yes and no. Yes, because there's too much political noise in this country. That's not arguable.
From where?
And from everyone, from all of us. From Kilewekes, from Tangatangas, there's just too much. The decibels are a record high, all-time high. And that's the whole thing. But there are some things that came out of there which really I wouldn't totally agree with. For example, to say that members of parliament go and work in your constituencies. And we need to work on our constitution, but there are some things that we need to put into context. As we speak, CDF, which is the money that is supposed to be with members of parliament, if you ask these members, most of them, they have received not more than 50%. CDF is the only fund whereby we finish the financial year without even paying bills, because we finish all the money. Members actually become idle waiting for money to be sent from Treasury to their constituencies. So in that respect, I wouldn't force CDF. As a matter of fact, what lets most MPs down is things which are outside their control. Things that are with counties, things about health, things about agriculture, things with the national government, things about roads, things about water, about electricity. So in that respect, there is some anguish among members of parliament that you can understand. Is the solution to that problem, is that going to be solved by going all over the country and polluting the political environment? Absolutely no. So in that respect, the president is right. But is he right that members of parliament are leaving their work and going to roam all over? No. So I think it's a movement that calls for a lot of
He's not happy because members of parliament are leaving their jobs, that's what is being said, to go and politic and concentrate about politicking about 2022. Okay, that is what he's not happy about.
In the sense of leaving their job in a constituency, I'm just trying to put something in perspective there, that you can't really totally blame members of parliament, because we have got huge problems with the executive, huge problems. Money is not coming in time, government officials who are not accessible, planning that is not coordinated. You know, all these things need to be put in perspective. Is the solution for that? Well, if I go and roam all over the country, have I solved that problem? Absolutely no. If I increase the political noise in the country, have I solved those problems? No.
But that is what is happening.
Absolutely.
You agree that is what is happening?
Absolutely.
You are part of that?
Absolutely.
Of increasing political noise?
Not of I've been speaking about this since November, my friend.
You did?
Kenyans are not listening to me.
I mean, it's true.
They never listen to me.
No, you've talked about issues about development and all that, no doubt.
So many other things.
But you've also talked about politics and
just look at the ratio.
And being a candidate. So definitely you've also been doing what the president doesn't want you to do.
Running for president, I will continue. Take this to the bank.
So you'll do what the president doesn't want you to do, isn't it?
Running for president is my constitutional right. Polluting the political environment with noise all over and saying...
You definitely have to politic, though.
Do you see people on my toe saying, where do you touch Aguba? Do you see people on my toe?
Okay, I'll come back to you, Mrs. Kuria. Honorable Ngunjiri Wambugu.
Yes, sir.
And effectively today you were presenting before the Building Bridges Initiative. That was in Nyeri?
Yes, it was.
One, you talked about restructuring. There was talks about restructuring the executive, the judicial process and all that.
Yes.
Number one, and I'll come to that, and whether it's a political thing or not, because you're the one who was going around telling people not to politic.
Yeah.
But the things that you're talking about building bridges, at the Building Bridges Initiative today, that's very political, isn't it? That process is political. You cannot deny that.
It is.
Changing the constitution and everything. That is political.
It is.
And you'll respond to that shortly. And then you also want MPs kicked out for not towing the line? Explain.
First and foremost, let's first discuss whether the president was justified in being upset on Sunday. Personally, I think he was. 100%. I mean, that what I saw was a man who's angry, who's frustrated, who's tired, who is angry.
So be upset with all of you, including you?
I don't want to say it's all of us. I mean, I have listened to Alice's explanation. I don't think it's all of us. I think
he was
quite specific. With the things he's worried, he's upset about. And one of the things I always try to put in context is that immediately we got elected, the president asked us not to do premature campaigns. That was in August, on August 30th, 2017, in the very first parliamentary group meeting that we had in Parliament.
Okay.
And he told us not to campaign, not to do politics for 4 years, and then in the 5th year, he would be the person who would champion the Jubilee campaign and presidential candidate in 2022. The thing that led him to where he has gotten, and this has been a build-up. Let's stop looking surprised that he got frustrated and he got upset on Sunday. I think the fact that we are getting shocked is taking it too far. He has, in the recent conversations he's had, and Mheshimiwa Wahome has pointed out that he's been annoyed most of the time when he talks to members of parliament, especially from our region. And in my opinion, it's because of the disappointment. Because this is a region he expected, above all others, to stand with him in the policies that he's making.
Okay.
When he went out and gave a policy, do not campaign, he expected us.
You think he was speaking to one?
He was speaking to
who?
Tanga. As far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Those are the guys he was talking to.
I mean, because they
because they've actually they've actually gone against everything he's asked.
Which is?
He said, do not do premature campaigns. They are doing premature campaigns. He said, let's support the fight against corruption. They have a problem with the fight against corruption. He said, let's support the handshake. They have a problem with the handshake. So literally everything he's pushing, they're fighting.
I want Honorable Alice Wahome
so that, for me,
respond to that. But Honorable Wambugu,
yes,
you've also been going out over the weekends, campaigning.
Let me tell you what happened.
Just finish my question.
Yes.
You've been going out over the weekends, you've been campaigning. You've been campaigning against
campaigns,
Tanga and against the campaigns for William Ruto, the deputy
president.
president.
We have been campaigning against campaigns, which is ironical. I mean, it's even I think it's ironical.
Yeah, so you've been going around doing politics and campaigning in a way.
Yes, and it's actually very unfortunate. I wish we weren't doing it personally. The problem is this: we had 1 year of a narrative being built on, and I always make fun. You know, Moses is the person who actually made me start Kieleweke. This guy.
He made you start the Kieleweke?
Yes, okay. Because he, sometime early last year, he used to go to Rift Valley and tell the people from Rift Valley that he has all the votes of the Kikuyu in his pocket and he's going to bank them in the ballot.
That's not very accurate. Asking you to start being truthful at your age. He's asking for too much. But
when he did that, actually the first time he did that, and I corrected it, and I said, forget about other votes.
Okay.
Mine. He actually came to Nyeri and tried to correct me. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make is...
has an issue.
Yes.
They'll just look at it as I let Honorable Alice Wahome respond to you. He was speaking to you, in other words. That's what the president was addressing you.
He was speaking to all of us.
He says
I
no.
want to imagine that he was speaking to all of us. And if we were to take the narrative by Ngunjiri Wambugu that he was talking to just Tanga, for that matter, then I think there is a problem there. Because there is equal measure of campaigns. If these movements to churches, to development project is campaigning. You know, you have seen Ngunjiri and his team, and I think he's the leader with the Honorable Commander. They have gone to churches. Some churches, they have been actually chased away because people have some expectation which they don't meet. Then there is some talk that they go to, you know, to spread all over, you know, including decampaigning openly, but the DP. So if you are decampaigning, you are actually also doing
campaigns,
politics.
And he agrees that.
And
he agrees with that, yeah.
And therefore, he's saying it is not okay. We want to see him starting. You know, Ngunjiri Wambugu started this campaign on social media before these things went to the depth that they have gone. And he knows. And there was serious campaign. I don't know, at that stage he was a loner. Now he has managed to recruit the commanders and the others, including people from the ODM. And so that now there is a fairly good team. But then let's just say that I think getting angry, as you say, is okay. But then when you get angry, you have to manage that. And then the things that you come out and say.
You're undermining him. That's the accusation.
I don't know.
Undermining him.
I do not understand.
You're not listening to your party leader when he's telling you, please let us focus on other issues and working together. Let's not talk about the politics.
There is a way you can speak to party members, because there are structures to address maybe errant members if they are there. There is disciplinary, you know, structures within the party. There is also the PG that you can call. That is not happening. But let me say this: even assuming that maybe the conclusions are that there is some form of disrespect, I don't think you add value by actually then coming out the way you are coming out. So in my view, and I think the president has a lot of capacity, and there is, you know, opportunity to speak to the members. And you know, when you look at outside the Mount Kenya region, last week you saw Mudavadi bringing his people together and calling for unity of the Luhya people, and also saying, look, we need to organize ourselves before 2022 or by 2022 for purposes of a candidate from this region. You have seen this man from trade union called Atwori. He has a movement also. He has called for change of the constitution. He seems to be speaking from somewhere, and his agenda is that we must stop DP Ruto.
Yeah. And
Murathe was actually chased out of the party because of going direct and actually saying the deputy president cannot be a candidate for Jubilee. And you know, those are decisions to be made by the party. And then the other thing is that how do you then measure this and tell somebody, what is the measure of politics against development? Wherever the DP has gone, and I'm not really here speaking for him, he has either gone to a church function, he has been invited, and it is, in my view, it is in order to spice it up with some politics. He has gone to launch, he has also launched projects.
Just so that you clear it, you make it clear, to spice it up with politics, you mean when people now, the so-called Tanga squad come there and say, our man is Deputy President William Ruto, he should not be fought and all that. That is what you mean.
What I'm saying, you know, I think the problem is that because of this, development will suffer. First and foremost.
I will come to that, Honorable Wahome. I'm just asking you a question.
Because I think there is nothing wrong with politicians doing politics.
So I'm asking,
have they compromised development?
You're within your rights.
No.
You're within your rights.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But your party leader does not think so. So what are you saying?
I think
you don't care what the party leader says.
I do care what the party leader says, but I also mind the communication and the method of reaching me as a member of Jubilee. I do mind.
Okay, we'll look at a sound clip here from, and you'll respond, from Honorable Kimani Ngunjiri, MP Bahati. This is what he said over the weekend after the president's outburst.
Tell the president the truth. Tell the president the mood of the ground. Tell the president the mood of the walipofukuzwa huko Gladys Wanga na hawa wanashikana wanakimbia kwa rais kusema ati walikuwa wamepangiwa.
What do you think is this mood on the ground that he's talking about?
You know, the mood of the sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The mood on the ground is that people also want to be visited by the deputy president. They want the visits by the president, and you see, when they go, they obviously must go with a project. In my view, they can also visit.
Must? That is the word you're using?
No, not. They don't. It's not a must, but there are reasons why a president will come to my region. Most of the times, it's either he has an invitation, or he's in a burial, or he's in a ceremony, or there is a project of the national government that is intended for launching. And you know, when we went around, ask yourself, how many promises did we make? What are we doing about those promises?
That is what he wants you to work on.
You know, look, let me explain this. The person and the office supposed to implement projects development is not the office of the member of parliament. I'm supposed to lobby. I'm supposed to oversight because we have a budget.
Yes.
The budget is given to county government and the national government, the office of the president, with all the cabinet ministers. They come up with policy. We support with the legislative mechanisms so that they can be able to implement. So there's nowhere really the MP is handling cash except the CDF, which is also has another structure. So when the country is being told that we are abandoning development, I think
oversight role is part of development.
Oversight role we are doing.
That is part of development, isn't
oversight
it? To check what is working and what is not working is part of development.
You know, actually, the oversight is if I have a project in my constituency and it's not going on well, then I can actually even call and summon the minister or the department involved in parliament.
And you can do that, right?
And I can do that.
That's what they want you to do, more of that. That's
we
what
are doing
saying.
that, in fact.
Honorable Kuria.
We are doing that.
What was the question? I'm lost.
How do you respond first to Kimani Ngunjiri?
No, you know, my good friend Kimani Ngunjiri, he's right to some extent in terms of what is in the ground. And I'll tell you in a minute what the ground is saying, especially Mount Kenya region. Let me, before I come to Kimani Ngunjiri, I come to what Honorable Alice is saying. And she's right. You know, it's the national government that's supposed to execute this project. My big question is, and that is a moment I was traveling somewhere in Nyeri. We had a meeting with the president as Mount Kenya MPs in November. I call it my road to Damascus. And in that meeting, with every member of parliament, and I was the one coordinating the development issues, 64 members of parliament and a couple of women reps and senators. Each of us had some documented issues of things that are wrong in Kandara and Nyeri town and Nakuru, and we dump them on the feet of the president. At that point, I ask myself, even if I go to Kandara 55 times without solving those issues, are we really helping? That's why I have got a huge problem with the way the Tanga is executing their version of the solution. And I think that's even where the angst of the president is really coming from. This notion that one man, Superman Rambo, can go around the country dishing out development when we have got huge issues is a problem for me. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, I think that whole Tanga thing is creating a personality cult. Even nowadays, if you listen to the speeches, it is first person singular. I, me,
You're talking
myself.
about the deputy president.
I'm not going to go there. I'm just saying the way that the Tanga is executing.
The so-called Tanga MPs are supporting him.
No, it's creating a personality cult in a situation which is very dire. Yeah, and you know, I don't understand how first-time MPs, like my good friend Ngunjiri Wambugu, Alice and myself have been in that house before. As a matter of fact, a person like myself, I'm almost 80-90% to finishing my development projects. Am I better than them? No. I just started, you know, in the 10th parliament or in the 11th parliament, so which I'm now completing in the 12th parliament. So you find first-time MPs moving from Mount Elgon to Garissa the following day in Mandera. Say, hey, even our term, things are not as difficult. We are not living in the budget constraint you live today. But you find a member of parliament first time, he should be really. I used to Tanga in my first term. Yeah?
Okay, so what should they be doing?
Let me tell you, I used to Tanga in my first term. My Tanga was starting in the morning in the Ministry of Water, midday in the Ministry of Roads, afternoon in the Ministry of Electricity, of Energy, looking for all the solutions. Now, I just pity them when I see, you know, what's happening. But at the same time...
But actually, you know, members of parliament shouldn't be doing that.
They should be.
That's what I was coming to.
Yeah,
they should be doing. Because you go to where the solution lies. The solution is not in that place where you are going to your fellow member of parliament. Yeah? But let me also give you the other side of the coin, because I think it's very important. I've told you where I think that the Tanga is executing the script wrongly. On the other hand, people, especially in our region, I don't know, you know, this panel, Hussein, is symptomatic of what is wrong with this country. He is a Kikuyu, I am a Kikuyu, she is a Kikuyu. I don't know where Mwega Hussein. I think we should even address you in Kikuyu, because, you know, it's like this panel is symptomatic of what's happening in this country, where it is only one region which is speaking. I want you next week to hold 3 Luya MPs. And the other week, 3 Kalenjin MPs.
Well,
and the other week,
you can look at it that way, you can look at it that the problem in Jubilee.
No, I don't understand why in a country of 42 communities, I think now, and I would want to think this is the last time we're having a panel like this, so that we now give the other 41 communities a chance to be heard, to be heard. But let me tell you something, Hussein.
The president clearly was speaking in one specific
I'm just saying
it was about this.
It is not about whether the president was right or wrong. I was saying, as Kikuyus, we need to shut up and give the Ruyas and the Masais and the Moros and the James, yeah, and the Rendiles and the Boranas time to come and also be heard 3 people in whatever. But let me do something before you cut me short, Hussein. The people from where I come from, in the region I come from, are very angry with this government. Very angry.
Why?
What they're saying, and I'm not implying whether they are right or wrong. I'm just reporting what they're saying. They're saying they're not seeing development. They think they have policies which are not enabling them. They're hurting them. They are saying they're not.
You also agree with that?
Yeah. This is what our people
so what
are
you
telling
doing
us.
About it? You're the representative, isn't it?
That's a big
what are you doing about it?
And in my opinion, these are the issues we need to address. And you know the problem is that it is compounded. You know, when a problem is compounded by lack of ventilation, it becomes even worse. Since we got elected in this term, Hussein, we have only had two PGs. When we were the first one, even between the first election and the second one last year, when we had the VAT issue. When a family does not sit together to iron out, and I'm talking about 2 families. We have got 3 families now. We have got the Mount Kenya family, where we come from. We have got the Jubilee family. And now we have got the larger Kenyan families. And those 3 families are equally important.
All right. Honorable Ngunjiri, do you agree with that? What he's talking about the ground?
I know that the ground is unsettled.
Because
I know the ground is unhappy. I think the ground is unhappy because they expected us to do certain things and we are doing something different. When we got elected, when we went around asking for votes, and yes, it's true, I'm a first-time member of parliament, so I am much closer to the last election. When we went around looking for votes, the one thing we kept telling people, immediately you elect us, we are going to make sure that you get development, you get services. Now, I, for example, have been able to do 120 projects in the 1.5 years that I have been in office. And a lot of the things that we are trying to do in Nyeri are based on the capacity to actually lobby government. And we've been able to lobby government.
Okay.
But let's be very honest, generally, across the region, there's a lot of displeasure and
with the
anger.
government?
Now, this is the problem I have with the way this anger is being done. Part of the problem of this anger is that it is being incited by some members of, some leaders from our region. They're inciting the ground against government. And this is the kind of thing that most probably makes the president extremely annoyed, because we are his foot soldiers. If things are not working in government, we're the ones who are supposed to be out there trying to make sure we find out what is going wrong.
Have you tried to do that?
What is going wrong? Let me finish, because I notice I'm getting the short end of this. I think
no.
it's because I'm a first timer.
I'll give you a time.
So the problem that you keep having, and this is why I honestly, Hussein, wish we were not doing these campaigns we were doing. I wish we were not involved in this political competition that we're doing, because it actually wastes time and effort and energy. But the problem is that we find ourselves in a situation where we are having to fight and say, no, we are not going to vote for anybody before 2022. And because when somebody stands up and says, we as Kikuyus are going to vote for so-and-so, and I'm a Kikuyu, I have to wake up and say, no, my vote is not going to anyone until 2022. If we were not having that conversation, I would not be out there saying no. But because we have a situation where people are generalizing votes that belong to the region and saying we as a region owe a debt to this man, or we as a region owe appreciation to this man, or we as a region have a promise to this man. I wake up and I say, look, I come from that region. I'm actually an elected leader from that region. And I know that the president has told us, and the president knows Ruto more than any one of us. And he's told us, wait, so why are we rushing? And now in the middle of that rush, we are disappointing the people who voted for us.
Okay.
Because
so
we are now involved in political competition.
About this issue about development, and it is to all of you. I mean, Parliament allocates funds to different development agenda or programs in this country, isn't it?
Yes.
Who implements? It's the executive.
The executive.
So how is politicking affecting the development or implementation?
Let me tell you how politics is affecting development. We have gotten to the point where we started politicizing development. For example, a lot of last year, I remember we had all these projects that the Deputy President went launching. And because I'm not part of that team.
Which should have been passed by Parliament.
Which were passed by Parliament.
So it is not something that he's doing it out of his own.
Now, let me tell you where the problem is. And this is the problem of doing campaigns at the wrong time. The minute you start, even I, in Nyeri Town constituency right now, if I start doing projects with the narrative that I am doing them so that I get elected in 2022, you create resistance from people who do not support you, not who don't support the project. So you start finding yourself getting obstacles put in the way of that project. Let me tell you, Hussein, I would like citizens to do this, to go back to Mount Kenya and ask me, of all the 48 projects that the Deputy President actually went out launching last year, how many have actually taken off? Why? Because they became politics. Because you now start having a problem.
Who should be blamed for that, Honorable?
First and foremost, I would actually blame the Deputy President. Because he fell into a trap.
the deputy to the president.
You see, he fell into a trap. We don't even see the president doing that.
All right.
You see, we don't see the president doing
that.
I
mean, but you started by saying, you speak.
Yes.
You started by saying,
these
are projects by the government.
Yes.
Approved by the National Assembly.
Yes.
And Parliament, isn't it?
Yes. Well, some of them, yes.
Okay, yeah. You actually
which is true. Some of them were not. Some of them were being launched and not even allocated money.
This is very much owned by the deputy as much as it is owned by the president.
Let me tell you something interesting. And Mheshimiwa Moses Kuria is seated here with me and is a member of budget. We have had projects being advertised and money has not been allocated in budget. And people actually go to the ground and launch them. And there's no money in budget. So you're asking yourself, isn't this politics we are playing? And isn't this how we are making the public and the ground so upset with us? Because when you go to the ground and launch a project,
you think this is
let me finish. You are launching a project because you want to make people happy. But you know that money has not been allocated in the budget. So what are you doing? So what's going to happen is that after you leave, that public which is waiting for that road or for that dam or for that electricity connection is not going to get it. And they're going to
And
blame
you're
the
blaming
government.
this on who? Tanga only? This
see,
is a blame on the government.
As
isn't
we
it?
haven't gone launching any projects that have not been allocated
As
money.
who? I'm not
As Kieleweke, the people who don't agree with Tanga haven't gone launching any project.
Okay.
I have made the point.
You have said it is the government that
You see,
implements
we
this
haven't
project.
gone launching any projects that have not been allocated money. I have made a point, Hussein, and I would like you to actually ask my brother here,
Yes.
to whether that is true or not, that we have projects that have been advertised in newspapers that do not have money allocated in the budget. What does that mean? When you go and launch that project, what are you doing?
Okay, yes.
You're setting us up.
You know, Wambugu has spoken very well in terms of the fact that they have seen several projects. They even have a list of projects that have been launched and they have been stopped or halfway, midstream.
They have actually stalled.
Yeah, they have stalled.
Because they hadn't followed the process.
They are actually busy sabotaging projects
not true.
that have been launched by the deputy
Sabotaging
president.
how?
Why would we do that?
You know, you can actually even remove a budget before it comes
But
to
he's the
Parliament.
deputy
If
president.
you have an instance to name,
You know,
name it.
If you use money in the
You know,
budget,
this is the
how would you
government,
stop
but
it?
Well,
You-
you know, he should have.
It's the
said-
executive that is
You know,
implementing.
they
So
have
how
even
is it going to
said.
sabotage?
You know, they have been. The executive is supposed to implement projects.
Yes.
The deputy president is part of the executive.
Okay.
So his launching, Lily, is not out of order.
So how
He's
is an
not in a-
MP sabotaging it?
that's
How
what I'm
is-
wondering.
How is Honorable Wambugu sabotaging
you know,
it?
we are the owners of the budget. We are the ones who allocate. We give money to the executive. But what they are doing now, they are using politics, and he has said it, to actually demonize, to say there is no money, they were launched too early. But let me just say this.
I'm just asking you, you give an instance. If you're saying that they withdrew funds from a specific budget, if that has ever happened.
You know,
That would make me very powerful as a first-time member of
You did
parliament.
not ask us to bring that list because you know he has just brought that thing here today. And you know we are not here to wash our dirty linen. We are here to just address the challenges that we are facing actually as Jubilee. But I wanted to say this: the deputy president is not a guest in Jubilee. But there are people behaving as if he's a guest. You know, when you choose a deputy president, in this particular contest that you are going for presidency, then you choose a person that adds value. But you can also decide to choose a technocrat, purely a technocrat.
Okay.
You know, but so there is a problem here, you know, and the budget, of course, we never give money. You know, when we allocate, sometimes the government, because has projects, has money that is not sufficient, and projects don't end in a year or two. You know, you are asking, because when we allocate money, sometimes you may have maybe a quarter or a third or even a 10% of the money that is expected to complete that project. And then every year, the government would bring a budget that helps to complete that project. So when Ngunjiri sits here and tells us there are projects that have been stored, and you know, obviously there is a team that has been put at Amatiang to consolidate, to bring together the projects, you know, and if you ask me, actually, that could be a good thing, so that you look and see the implementation.
If things are very bad,
yeah.
if things are very bad on the ground, as you say, yeah?
They are not that bad. What we are saying is that people are not happy because there are things that we promised.
How is moving around, as he says, and campaigning and talking about politics, how is that a solution?
I never said it is a solution. I said it's first and foremost, you know, when we moved around, we built expectations because of the promises we made. Some of the projects he's referring to are projects that the president announced during the campaigns, projects announced by the government, by the ministers, and therefore, you know, he should be telling us, because they are in the government, and they have even said in churches that they are the government. I have my own church, when they came to my own constituency, in my church,
for a homecoming for somebody who is in your constituency.
They said they are the government and they should even be approached for jobs. You know, we should not even be lobbying government after we have allocated funds.
That should be
it should be.
Now you play your role.
We have 290 constituencies.
I thought we are all
you can
government
divide.
here.
We can divide the money according to the needs and assessment, you know, and you know the requirements that we have.
Honorable Kuria, and we have some feedback. I'd want to get some feedback and you respond as well, Honorable Kuria. We have Martin Dare in Mombasa says on on our SMS platform, 22422. It's clear beyond reasonable doubt that the politics of Central Region is taking a new path. It's going to be messy, noisy, with more casualties, as the president warned. Still on the SMS platform. Oh, this is just too slow. Comment in Eldoret says Jubilee Party is going through a self-inflicted crisis, being the ruling party, commanding a clear majority in the legislature and relatively loyal Loyal executive bureaucracy since 2013, it has all the opportunities to surmount its turbulence if it so wishes. Jubilee legislators should utilize their extraordinary energies to be part of the solutions and not the contrary. Let's take a look at Twitter. Okay, this is the last SMS I gather. We have Mwas from Kiambu. Moses Kuria, you had a team called Team Hema. Now you have Team Wanjiku. You accuse President of neglecting Central, and you said you are joining another party. Why the flip-flop from one team to another? Is it trying to position yourself as Mount Kenya presidential candidate? As you respond, Moses Kuria. That's what you wanted to say, yeah?
It is positioning myself as a candidate. Yes, I'm a politician.
So that is what...
What's wrong?
You're agreeing with Mwas saying you're flip-flopping.
Okay, let me tell you about Hema and Wanjiku.
Okay.
Hema is actually for me a Mount Kenya message because we are the only people arguing out there. And I'm saying we need to take a chill pill and talk to each other and focus on the issues of Wanjiku. So it's really no contradiction. I'm just saying Ngunjiri, I'm just saying Alice, let's stop all these tanga, let's stop all these Kieleweke, let's reason out together, let's reach out even to the president, let's look for a way forward for
actually,
Kenya.
maybe you're answering the next, that is a tweet from Odipo Francis. Moses Kuria has never revealed his side of support. He's always opposing Tanga and Kieleweke team. He's somewhere in between. I think he is Kielewetanga. That's what I think it is.
And Kielewetanga means Kenyan. I am Kenyan. I'm neither Kieleweke nor Tanga. I am for us to focus on the issues of Wanjiku.
Okay.
Yeah, that's very important. But let me say something,
Hussein,
because I want to respond to, I want to say just two issues. Okay. And I hope I say nothing else with this. One, you asked Alice a very important question. How is MPs moving around stopping the development? What you are saying is in a choir, I want to sing Lingala, and you want to sing reggae, and then you're asking me, how is your Lingala affecting my reggae? There can only be one song. Either we move around, let us stop all development, let us stop all Wanjiku issues, let us stop looking for solution. Because I really am with the president on the issue of political noise. Because that political noise, even if you want to work, it's like in a classroom, one student wants to study, the other one to make noise. And then the one who is making noise says, how is my noise stopping you from studying? So really it's diversionary and it robs us of that space. And I just wish we can be able to agree and focus on that particular issue. The second thing is, you know, we are suffering from something I call the Mudaura effect. Everybody's job becomes nobody's job. And I complained about this issue before, even before the Matiang'i came by. We have got so many, you know, Ngunjiri is absolutely right in terms of, I am the vice chair of the transport committee, later on being in the budget committee, and we have got projects, I estimate them at 300 billion.
That's true.
Projects that were advertised and they were tendered for, and you know, at the point of award, we realize there's no money. And for me, that's very,
and unfortunately, some of them were launched.
Yeah? And let me not come to the launching or no launching. Let me come to this. What should we be doing? Even if that road, and I know even some are in Ali's constituency, some are in your constituency. I know, I have got all the data. There is a lot of roads in Morang. I can tell you a road called Mioro there, which was advertised 4 years ago, until now has not been awarded because there's no money in the budget. If I was Tanga, if I were Tanga, what would I do? Going to the ground is not going to solve this problem. I would sit in office and clog the system, because the system is clogged. I'm calling it the Mudaura effect because Mudaura used to do this. But now there's no one. But and I think if I was the deputy president, I would sit in office and say, give me a file of all those things that are not moving. I will make sure they move from my office, not from the ground.
Yet that is also your role as the oversight. The oversight role you need to play, isn't
Absolutely.
it? But here, this is you, Moses Kuria. Maybe you can clarify this. This is you, and you apologize for this actually.
Yeah.
But this was you early this year. You were quoted as saying, as we enter 2019, you, that is voters, must think our responsibility is not just to vote, and after voting, we, that is the government we form, take development to other regions. That kind of nonsense must stop. You said again, and I quote you, we want the president to also commission water projects, roads and electricity when he comes here. We were with him in Kisumu when he commissioned a road project, but when he visits Kiambu, he only issues certificates to recovering alcoholics.
You want us to have that discussion again? I will not join you.
No, it's a matter of principle.
We have talked about this issue and finishing.
It's okay.
And by the way, let me do something. There's nothing wrong with Mount Kenya demanding development.
That's fine.
There's nothing wrong. That's why I'm talking about all these projects that are stalled. There's nothing wrong with Mount Kenya demanding for roads. There's nothing wrong with Mount Kenya demanding water. There's nothing wrong with the water.
Parliament.
Yeah?
It is passed by Parliament, isn't it?
Absolutely. But you know what happens? I'm a member of the budget committee. Let me give you an example, Hussein. In a budget of 3 trillion, do you know how much the budget committee changed? 11 billion. Take your calculator, calculate out percentage. It is essentially because of the way our political system architecture works. It is essentially an executive budget. It is not our budget. And you know, I was in that committee for 1 week. And the CS Rutich and PS Duga were there pleading, please guys, I beg you, IMF is on my back because of the deficit. Don't change anything. And we try to be responsible Kenyans. 11 billion out of 3 trillion is a much regime that we had as parliament to change. And by the way, look at our 3 roles as members of parliament. I must legislate, I must oversight, but I must also represent. Let me school you. Legislate, oversight, and represent.
Okay.
But I mean, as we finish this, I want to get to...
But obviously, Moses has now shifted from that statement. I think...
That's what I'm saying.
I have not
That's
shifted.
what I'm asking.
I have not
That's what I'm
shifted.
asking,
I have not shifted. But
what
I'm doing, by tangatangai, how much of that am I solving?
Then why did you do it? Why did you?
How much?
You're withdrawing this.
No, I'm not withdrawing these issues. But even if I withdraw, I'll make an answer to myself because that's what the people are saying.
So what I mean,
and that's what people are saying. That's what people are saying. Ask Ngunjiri in the eye. Look at Ngunjiri in the eye and tell him, ask him, you and Nyeri people are happy?
Actually, the truth is, the people were very unhappy when Moses appeared like he was apologizing.
Yeah? And by the way, we can cover these things, but in the fullness of time, they'll come out. What I'm agreeing with Ngunjiri and with the president is, even if we tanga 70 times, it will not solve this problem. We need to sit back and provide a solution.
Let me tell you, and I'm going to keep insisting this. I wish we would stop doing campaigns all over the place, all of us. Because if we did that, we would be able to, as Moses says, we'd be able to unclog where these projects are getting stuck. Yes, exactly. And then we would not politicize these projects. It will not look like they are going to a certain place because you support a certain person, and then they don't go to a certain place because you don't support a certain person. Because that's also one of the perceptions that exists, that is clogs things up. Okay. So, for example, where you get to a situation where some people start saying that there's been no project in Nyeri because Ngunjiri doesn't support the deputy president. And I'm like, but projects don't come through the deputy president. You see, okay. So but the problem about our politics. Let me finish. The problem about the noise, and going back to where the president was saying, stop the noise. The problem about the noise is that in the middle of that noise, we don't actually talk about the important things. Okay. We don't talk about. Let me tell you something. Sorry, let me finish. Please give me time.
Sure,
you see, what has been happening, for example, I have 99.4% electricity connection in my constituency. I'm looking for 6%. This guy. He invited me to his place in his first term. He got 100% electricity connection. So even as we say some things, even as we say things are not happening, it's just that they're not happening the way we would want them to happen. And they're happening in different levels. Some people, you'll have people in Kenya who are upset about water. I don't have a water problem in my place. But I have a problem on security. Okay. Somebody else, Alice, has a problem with roads. So the problem about making combined noise is that we don't even listen to each other. And so now, whereas people should be talking to Moses and myself about how you have 100% electricity connection, we're not talking.
Sadly, that is not the reality.
Yes.
Let's talk about this issue that many of you, some of you, or many of you, whichever way you look at it, or whichever side you belong to, say is the cause, or maybe major cause of this, the handshake. Okay? And, I mean, we've had those who say, and I actually had an interview with the deputy president, I think, a month ago, and he actually said he was never for the idea when Raila Odinga approached him. Those were his words. And of course, he did it because the president went ahead to do it. I mean, we've had them talk. We've had his troops talk, and they say Odinga and team are there to divide the party, and they are also doing politics. Case in point, just last week when Honorable Mbadi was asking the president in Nyanza to name his successor, that his successor should be A, B, C, D. Yet they are the ones who are saying people should not politic. I'll start with you, Honorable Wahome. What do you feel of the handshake? What do you feel of that? What has it done to you?
I think the problem with the handshake is the fact that, the beginning I said that when you are in a, we don't have a coalition government ourselves, but we have very many parties and partners. I don't know what you want to call that. We call ourselves Jubilee, but we have a bigger family than just Jubilee. All those people are supposed to be involved in a handshake. It's good that
the Jubilee party.
The Jubilee party and the affiliates. We are actually 14 parties. So even as we speak here, as if we are Jubilee, we are the only people who assisted to form the government, I think that would actually be very wrong. So therefore, when the handshake occurred between Raila Odinga and His Excellency the President, then there was a lot of expectation that then it will flow so that it can be understood by the rest of the party members in Jubilee and outside. And today, if we are to be very honest to Kenyans, we've never had a sitting as Jubilee to be told what it is or how we should deal with it.
They have explained, though. The President and Raila Odinga have explained about the handshake.
This is
there
where
was this 9-point agenda in the statement. That wasn't enough for you?
This is where we are not understanding. You see, we are elected members of parliament. There are forums and platforms that you actually sit, like he has said, if we were to sit, we may be able to understand each other. But when I go to a political rally or into maybe a barrio and I say this is how the handshake should occur, or in the national prayer breakfast, you see, that is to demonstrate that you have had a handshake.
Do you think
but then you come back and discuss and open it up to the rest of Kenyans, period. And then maybe people can appreciate. From handshake, then we move to BBI. Hussein, to date, BBI is now what is going round. It has no legal framework. It is not anchored in law. It is drawing Kenyan money. Who formed the BBI? And when we are talking about maybe coming with proposals that will affect the constitution or will change the constitution, participation even at the formation stage.
And you're saying this is not insubordination?
It is not.
All these things you're saying.
I'm not an employee of the executive.
You're a member.
I'm an employee.
You're a member of the
people.
Jubilee Party.
Let
me just finish, then you respond. You're a member of the Jubilee Party. The President has urged you to support this handshake and everything in it, that it is good for the country. And even, when he was talking last week, he even talked about a roadmap and taking you somewhere.
Where?
I don't know, you'll figure that out. But the thing is, you're saying you don't support all this then.
Okay, Ngunjiri.
It's 2 years
says
later.
There is a handshake, and in fact he has come to present at the BBI. And have said we've never sat as members of parliament, as members of Jubilee. Now you are saying it is insubordination to say I have a challenge in understanding or in appreciating the handshake. That cannot be insubordination. Even in politics, even in political parties, there is room for democracy, room to express yourself, and we must encourage that, because these people, he came from ODM before, and in ODM there is no much democracy.
But Ruto came from there as well.
Yeah, even Ruto came from there. So, and I'm not saying he didn't. What I'm saying is that there is a history of people wanting to dictate to others, and I think His Excellency did not mean that. I expect that there will be then time to actually explain or bring it on board to discuss. So I don't agree that it's insubordination. We had a democratic nation.
What is your fear with the handshake and the BBI and everything? Do you have any fears?
Do you want us, Hussein, as a country to just follow something that, like the President said, he wants to take his people somewhere. Now, not the nation, his people, because he was speaking to the region somewhere, and he has decided which route it is. Actually, I don't know which route it is. We don't know. So I don't know what you're asking us to do. And we will come on board when he comes now and explains.
So you're not on board? You're not on board with handshake. That's what you're saying otherwise.
I don't know it. I don't know what it is.
I'm personally 100% on board with handshake. And this is my reason. First and foremost, I have no personal problem with Raila Odinga. The only reason I was fighting with him was because he was stopping my candidate from being president. Now, when my candidate wakes up and tells me that, Ngunjiri, this fight is over, now me and Raila are friends, why would I stop? Why would I continue fighting Raila Odinga? He's not running for member of parliament in Nyeri Town. So we were competing, and we were competing. You see, the people who are competing were Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, and they competed viciously. Right?
Okay.
I was supporting Uhuru Kenyatta in that competition. Then Uhuru comes and says the competition is over. We're no longer in a competition. So the first question I asked myself is, why would I continue fighting Raila Odinga after the person I was fighting him for tells me the fight is over?
Okay.
First problem. Second problem. Let's be very honest with saying, once you remove 2022 politics, nobody has a problem with the handshake.
So
nobody has a problem with the handshake.
Why?
Because you see, let me tell you why people who have a problem with the handshake have a problem with the handshake. Because the handshake affects the trajectory that had been planned towards 2020.
Does it?
No, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't.
Why?
Affects.
Let me tell you,
How
as
does
far
it
as
affect
I am concerned, it doesn't. Because right now we have things, this handshake brought peace now.
Okay.
It brought national cohesion now.
Okay.
It allowed us to be able to have a united. It allowed us to be able to speak together across political divides now.
Okay.
So my last point on that issue is that when you start having people having a problem with the handshake, you will hear them saying, "But you know, this thing has come to spoil our party." The president himself publicly stated that this handshake is not affecting Jubilee at all. He is the party leader of Jubilee Party. And he said this handshake is not affecting Jubilee. But I still have people who go around saying this handshake is undermining the party. Okay. The leader of the party has said it is not. Right. So I ask myself, who are these people fighting the handshake, fighting on behalf of? Because certainly it is no longer Uhuru Kenyatta.
Okay, I just want to ask you this question. Yeah. Today, this is a story we did earlier. You were before the PBI, Organ Images Initiative. Yep. And there have been calls for changes to the structure of government.
Yes.
How is not interfering with the trajectory to 2022?
Because it doesn't stop.
That is,
you see,
let me just finish.
Yes. Yes.
That is a governance structure.
Yes.
Meaning, some people would want to have a different governance structure by 2022.
Yes.
It affects the politics of 2022, whether
yes.
they like it or not.
But you see, this is the problem, Hussein. How are we having a conversation right now about 2022 and you haven't even finished the work for now? Number one. Number two, if you want to run for president in 2022, whether you're running in this governance structure or the next one, you can still run for president. Don't stop a good idea, or don't stop us debating a good idea because you think it is going to affect you.
So either way it will affect. You are saying,
no.
You're saying the fallacy is that it will affect 2022.
It will affect the ambitions of certain individuals.
Either way, it's a political process.
Yes, but you see now, the issue is this. We're not even supposed to be having a conversation about who is going to be president in 2022 now.
Okay.
So when you start saying, you get my point.
All right, okay.
So when you
I'm
start
getting
saying,
your point on one hand,
my point is simple. My point is very simple.
Politics is not about...
Moses wants to run for president.
Yes.
But then he's going to tell me that do not have a conversation about handshake, because if you continue with this conversation about handshake, yes, you might affect my chances of becoming president. How is that? Okay. How is that important?
You're only saying one side. You're talking about...
No, but that's what I'm hearing.
All right, let me just finish. Yes. You're talking about 2022 and handshake regarding personalities. I'm talking about a structure or structural changes that could affect the politics. But you see, that also affects 2022.
But you see, that is not the fight. That is not the fight. The people... Sorry, let me finish, because you asked me the question. Let me finish. The fight that people who have a fight with the handshake have has nothing to do with the governance structure of 2022. Their problem is that Raila amekuja kuharibu chama ya Jubilee. Amekuja kusimamisha William Ruto kutoka kuwa president. Now, how is that a conversation you're supposed to be having about a handshake that actually brought peace to the whole country? We are now having a debate about whether it's a good thing or not, because it affects the ambitions of one person. I personally have a major problem with that. And that is why I'm like, there's a certain very close-sighted look by the people who are fighting the handshake on that basis. That this person who has been introduced by the... And you know, we all follow Uhuru Kenyatta as our party leader. Yeah. And then we are here correcting him and telling him, boss, you know, this guy you've brought is destroying your house. Uhuru is insisting, no, he is not. Then you are like, yes, he is. I'm like,
okay. Let Kuria respond first, then you will.
I wish you would give her a chance. Because,
I will.
Because I have so much to say on
this
handshake issue.
You know,
we have got
she's taking the chance. No, let Kuria speak first. No, let Honorable Kuria speak. It's okay. I'll come to you, Honorable Wahome.
No, let Ali speak.
Let the lady speak.
Right.
When I speak, no one else will speak about this issue.
All right.
Hussein,
let's go, Honorable Wahome.
You know, this country is full of hypocrisy. Ngunjiri here should be very honest and tell us what he presented today is a change of governance structure.
Yes.
And that governance
structure,
personalized. If you want to occupy any position in the governance structure, you will start the process now. Put in place a system that may favor you at the end of the day in 2022. And indeed, there are those people who are thinking the way the structure today is, they are not likely to be elected. And therefore, they are going through Ngunjiris and the others and coming with the handshake and... Let me finish. Handshake and BBI, instead of telling Kenyans that that is another political movement. And you know...
That's what you think this is?
Not I think. That is what I feel. And I understand it to be. Because you see, you have to read politics in these things. How is it that even the people sitting there, majority of them are politicians? Really, you know, if you look at even the issues that are coming on board, by end of the day, and you will tell us when the report comes, it will be debated in Parliament. It is actually a strategy for the Kiereweke team to attain power in 2022. So they should not interfere with those who are now going to the people and telling them, you know you are a candidate.
We don't have a candidate.
Your candidate is right.
No, we don't have a candidate.
And it could be
I've just put it on record. We don't have a candidate. Our candidate is Uhuru Kenyatta. We just elected him 2 years ago.
Honorable Wahome, when you talk about this being a political movement, I mean, the handshake being a political movement, I don't know how you can, how you justify that. Either way, there's this big debate always about party democracy, right to speech or right to your freedom of expression, and of course, towing the party line. The president, your party leader, has said time and again over the last 1.5 years that this handshake is for the good of the country. It is not political. Do not bring any politics into it. What you're telling me, in other words, is you're telling the president, secretary the president off.
You know, even in a classroom, when a teacher presents a subject, students are entitled to ask questions. They put their hands up.
Have you asked him questions?
We have called for a meeting. It has not occurred. Let me move from there.
No, it's okay. You'll move.
As an individual,
you've called the meeting as...
we have asked the party to call for a meeting.
Okay.
It has not happened. Let us hope that it's going to happen. So, and you know, you are following this issue of insubordination. You know, there is even right now nothing, no machinery that is happening in the party that then will be able to tell me this is how Alice you should behave. Don't cross this line.
Okay.
You know,
somebody just pointed to me out that recently MPs,
I wanted to finish before you ask me.
You will, and I'll let you finish. Recently there was a Kamkunji about allowances, and all MPs somehow find a way to meet, including from different parties, including Jubilee. So why is it so difficult for you to meet? You have a chief whip in Parliament. Why is it so difficult for you to meet? Why are you waiting? Are you saying you're waiting for the president to convene?
We are saying the president, it is true, he's the party leader.
Yes.
The deputy president is the deputy party leader.
But you can meet as MPs, isn't it?
Even if you meet, you need them to actually be part and parcel of the conception and the meeting. But let me say this. You know, you are saying that because this party, the head of the party is His Excellency the President, and we respect him a lot, and we actually take on board most of his ideas. But you know, when you now say that he has said this, some of these things are being brought by Ngunjiri and others. They go there behind the scene and they imagine that they want us to believe it is the President.
Like what? What are you saying?
Our party.
Like what? I mean,
let me first finish this.
Some of those
it's only important.
I will say that.
Am I managing? Is she suggesting that I'm managing the president?
Hold on. I mean, let me finish. I didn't say you're not even reaching the president. That's what I said. But you are pretending that you are the government.
But the president just told us exactly what we have to say.
The party is not owned by an individual.
But what he's saying,
but it can be led by an individual.
Yes.
You know, you asked about party democracy,
and
internal mechanisms. The era of towing the line, if you asked me, it's over. Even the president does not want sycophants in his party. I don't think he would encourage sycophants. He wants people who can contribute. But you know, Ngunjiri is imagining that the party belongs to him or to one person. The party belongs to the people who voted for this government and for this party.
The president said because of that he will crush you. Okay? Either way. The deputy president is the deputy party leader. But let me just finish your question. You'll respond to both. The deputy president is the deputy party leader. You've also been meeting him. You've been talking about him. You've seen him. Why haven't you talked to him about convening a party meeting?
We have talked to him.
And
we have also asked the SG. And the president has yet to agree that the meeting be convened. And I think that's going to happen. I believe it is going to happen. You know, you are not taking this point. Let me express this point. The party right now is supposed to be going to the grassroots to get the mandate of the people because we were elected by the people. But right now, the party is now only this, you know, it's 2, 3, 4 people.
They want you out. Honorable
to crash.
They want you out
to crash.
For not towing the line.
Who want me out?
They proposed
that
today.
I was elected by the people of Kandara. You want to remove me? We will.
It doesn't matter what your party leader says. That's what you say.
No, I didn't say it doesn't matter. I need also
you are at complete
my view, Hussein, is important.
It's
irrespective
of what the party leader says. That's what I'm saying.
My view is important.
Honorable Kuria.
I want to weigh in on this issue of the handshake. And let me tell you, Hussein, This is the elephant in the room. All these other manenos we are speaking is just, you know, red herrings and camouflage for the real. Because I think I attribute all these problems we have in Jubilee to the handshake. We have got 3 versions of the handshake, 3 gospels. The gospel according to Raila and his people, the gospel according to William Ruto and his people, and the gospel according to President Kenyatta. And I'll go through these 3 gospels. The Raila gospel, and I'm saying this because, you know, I frequently visit Kisumu, and I have got a lot of, I'm the second most popular person in Kisumu after Raila Odinga. You know, you can say that for So I know what his people...
And you are inside with him.
Yeah, he's my good friend. You. Yeah. So, according to what people tell me, especially in Luo Nyanza, the handshake means the following. The handshake means that Raila will be president, and Uhuru will be executive prime minister, yeah, in that government, and then, you know, Kalonzo and Musalia and Gideon Moy,
that's the,
you know, that will be there. And they believe now it's not a question of whether, they believe it's a question of when that is going to happen.
Who believes?
The people in Raila's, and that's what you saw from
that is an assumption.
No, I'm telling you this is empirical because I got.
There's nothing empirical about that. I mean, you can say, it's your right, it's your freedom of, it's your right.
It's not scientific.
But there's nothing scientific about that.
No, it's not scientific. Yeah. But even what you saw from John Buddy, that, you know, that combination is the only one which can be able to take forward the war against corruption. And sometimes I shudder with fear. If that does not happen, how do you get those people to come down from that, you know, high pedestal of expectation? So that's the gospel according to Raila's people. I'm not saying Raila himself.
But that's one. That is your view, yeah.
The gospel according to Ruto and Tanga is that the handshake was brought to put Raila into power. And the handshake was brought to extend Uhuru Kenyatta's grip on power. And the handshake was brought to remove, to stop William Ruto from being president when he was this close, and to extend the dynasty. Those are the 2. Let me speak what I think. Again, not as scientific, about the gospel according to Uhuru Kenyatta. And I'm saying this because, you know, in the year 2008, I was saying, I was on the ground after the post-election violence with the and Ngunjiri is my witness to that, you know, with the president in so many places. At one time, we went to a place called Rurigi in Burnt Forest. And we were contemplating building a wall, you know, like the Mexican wall, to protect the Kikuyus there. And then we ask ourselves, are we going to cage our people like goats instead of investing in friendship and love and peace and long-lasting peace that can be able to secure our people? And we made that resolution. That is not walls and police posts and armies that are going to protect you and to ensure that we live well in this country. It is long-lasting peace. From what I saw in 2017, if that is the same thing that the president saw, he saw that to protect and to ensure that, one, all the people of Kenya, but significantly so, also the people from our community. It is only long-lasting peace with everyone. So I think the president is 110% genuine on that particular issue. But both Kangatanga, both Raila's people are dishonest on this because they get the same version. And you know, how did I find out? How did I take the handshake when it came? I was the first politician before a week. Not even congratulate. I went to see Raila Odinga. And I asked him, Jacob, tell me what is this? And he told me, we have agreed that, he gave me the example of that elephant. Some people said, what is this? They said, they touched the tusk and they said, it's a hard thing. Others touched the ears, and he's still there. Nobody until now what the elephant is. You know, in 1991, Hussein, during the Section 2A, Moi could have said, twende upande huu, na kila mtu afuate. Instead, he took people to Kasarani.
Right.
And he let people, don't cut me short.
I'm not cutting
He gave people time to ventilate.
Yeah.
Until we have a party resolution. And I'll be the first one to move that resolution to support the handshake. I'll be the first one to move it. Because we cannot live like this forever. I cannot fight this fight against some communities and some parties and some regions, and then I bequeath to my children the same fight. It is completely nonsensical. It doesn't make sense. We have to get a solution. We cannot live the way we saw in 2017, where we almost 2 countries. Yep. You know, we cannot. I'll be the last person to oppose the handshake if the purpose of the handshake is to ensure that in this country, every time there's an election.
Is that the purpose? Is that what you think the purpose is?
That is what is in Uhuru's mind. That is
I'm not asking about what is in your mind. I'm asking about you.
That is it. My purpose is to ensure that we had...
What is the purpose of the handshake according to you?
I have given you 3 versions.
Of them, of what you think of them.
I can only tell for the person I know best, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, that he was genuine in it. Maybe Raila Odinga is genuine in it, but from what John Badi are saying and his people, they are seeing it as another thing. And let me tell you another big problem, because you asked Alice a question. Why can't we meet as Jubilee, even without Uhuru and Ruto and all these people, and try to make sense of this? The other problem is that the leadership of the House is one-sided. It is all tanga-tanga. You go to it is the truth. Because me, I would want us to have this discussion. The way we met about our house allowance, I would want Duale and Murkomen as our majorities. But you see now, Speaker of Senate, tanga-tanga. Susan Gihika, tanga-tanga. Murkomen, tanga-tanga.
Right.
Washiali, tanga-tanga. Duale, tanga-tanga. You know,
what are you saying?
By the way, I'm just saying that really we need to stop all these tanga-tanga and kereweke things. Get together, and we should be having parliamentary group meetings.
All right.
Whether Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto is there or not there.
We have to wind this up. Vincent Awange on Twitter says, from this debate it seems Jubilee is imploding. And I remember over the weekend in Muranga, one of the people that raised her hand and said she is now ready to unite the House and the problems and bedeviling the party is Governor Anne Waiguru. And I'll ask you about her, plus what you think is the way forward now. And as I do that, I'll give you the last chance to respond to all this and ask you this question from Ivali Jr., who says, Ngunjiri is forgetting what Deputy ODM leader Joho said. He was told by Raila that his sole job is to stop the DP from ascending to power.
They have no other assignment, actually.
So you want me to respond about what Joho said? But
no.
Sorry.
I mean, in other words, he's just trying to say
I'm not a member
the handshake is about...
I have no idea. I have just listened to Moses articulate the 3 points. And I'm stuck on the one of Uhuru's philosophy. That's where I am.
That's fine. I'm just saying.
Yes.
I mean, I understand what Ivali Jr. is trying to say.
Yes.
Is that Raila Odinga is the leader of ODM. Isn't it?
See,
let me just finish.
Yes. I get your point. I get your point.
Deputy party leader said that the sole purpose is to fight the deputy president.
But you know, if you use the same logic, the deputy party leader of our party is fighting the handshake.
I mean,
you get what I'm saying?
Just answer my question first.
No, what I think...
Ivali's question. Okay.
Yes, what I think is that we need to believe and trust that our leaders, Uhuru Kenyatta for our side, and Raila Odinga for their side, know what they're doing. We need to stop second-guessing them. This handshake has brought positives, a lot more positives. The only negative it has brought is politics. If we could remove the politics and
you don't trust, when you say we trust our leaders, the president and...
I thought we are supposed to trust institutions.
Raila Odinga.
On this handshake, let's be honest. No. You see, the two leaders, the people who are running for president, deputy president wasn't running for president. The two leaders who actually
had
the people who...
He's part of the handshake.
He's not part of the handshake. Let's be honest.
Let me finish. It was supposed to unite everyone.
You see, he is not
the point
part of
I want to make.
Handshake.
I'm trying to make a very simple point, and Alice is jumping into something. Ruto is not part of the handshake. The same way Moses Kuria is not part of the handshake, Alice is not part of the handshake, I am not part of the handshake. That handshake was done by two people who were in a near-death fight. Let me finish.
Here. But the handshake will outlive Raila and Uhuru.
Yes,
it is a national project.
I'm talking about
project.
No,
it cannot be a
let me tell you.
It cannot be a project of two people.
I am trying. These guys could allow me. If these guys could,
by the time
do you want me to speak?
2 years down the line.
You see,
we cannot finish this show by saying the handshake is a project of two people.
I am trying to make a point.
This handshake.
It's okay. You'll get your chance.
It cannot be about two people. It must be a project.
You see,
he has the right to say what he
believes.
believes.
Me, I'm trying to make a very simple point. This handshake was initiated by two people. Two.
For 50 million.
No.
On behalf of
it
who?
was initiated by two people.
On behalf
one
of who?
On behalf of Jubilee Party, the other one on behalf of NASA.
What is so difficult to making it a national project? What is so difficult?
That is what
BBI project.
But you see, BBI is trying. I'm trying to make my point. BBI is out there trying to make this handshake a national project, right? My presentations to BBI today were because I recognize that there's a task force that is trying to make a handshake that started with two people a national project. The president keeps telling us
they gave the mandate.
They gave the mandate to BBI to go around the country.
Yes, but they talked about ethnic antagonism, lack of a national ethos, inclusivity, devolution, divisive elections,
bad elections, blah, 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 blah.
Affecting who? Let me finish.
Affecting 50 million Kenyans.
Exactly. So it's
now,
about,
let me tell you
everybody.
And Hussein, this is a problem about people not accepting where we are at. We only have one leader at a time, right? Right now, the only president this country has is Uhuru Kenyatta. Not Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto. Not Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. Not Uhuru Kenyatta and Moses Kuria.
You know, dictators
are
made by people like
No. But you see, I'm trying to make a point. We only have one president at a time. The same way we only have one member of parliament in Kandara at a time.
That's true.
You get?
Yeah.
So don't say it's about dictatorship. It is just about structure of government. Now, the leader we have at this time, Uhuru Kenyatta, decided that he wants to lead the country into a process of national reconciliation through a symbolic handshake with the person who was his primary rival in the last election.
Okay.
The person who made this country, as Moses says, nearly split in the middle.
You know.
It was to unite everybody.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It was to unite everybody.
It's not any specific people. Myself, William Ruto, Alice Wahome.
This is a shallow view of the handshake.
Well, this is my view.
Speaking,
you have the opinion to choose the way it is.
And I have the
I think it's very deep.
I have the right to actually agree with you or not. So I'm saying it's a very shallow view in the present Kenya. You know, we have a new constitution, Hussein. He was one of the people actually promoting the constitution, talking about transparency, talking about inclusivity, talking about democracy, talking about, you know, participation of the people. So if in this era, Ngunjiri is telling us that the handshake is about two people, that Moses has said it is not possible. 2 years down the line, if it was the first 1 month, it is possible to accept what he said. But so that because an idea can be for one person, but the idea, but an idea.
You know, you were like 300.
Ngunjiri, you know, you have said what you wanted to say, that you want us all Kenyans to live this country. You know, we have fought for the space, freedom of choice, freedom of speech, you know, participation in political whatever, you know, discourse. Now Ngunjiri wants us to throw all that and say, look, when you read the Constitution, so and so, the rest of us have read the Constitution. When when Ngunjiri presents the BBI,
I mean, that's not what
everybody else. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
No.
Nobody is questioning, and I want to be on record, nobody is questioning that the President, His Excellency, is the head of state, the head of government, and commander-in-chief. But he has people that he leads. When you are leading people, you tell them, for example, if you are going on a journey, that we are going to Nairobi, if we are coming from Mombasa, so that they can prepare themselves for the journey. Maybe even you carry food and an extra dress, because you want to know how long is the journey. 2 years down the line, Ngunjiri, you are busy cooking that thing so that you bring a report that is one-sided.
Who is cooking?
Why have you already made that? You've already made a...
You know, we are in
You've already made an assumption.
We are in this era.
Which
we are
era,
in this. We are in the same party. We hear what they are saying. They are even saying now. You know, Moses said a very important thing, that there is right now an expectation even from members of ODM, and that's why they are saying they have been shortchanged, that they would get 2 ministers after a reshuffle, which is good. You know,
I mean, that's just speculation. Okay, it's
no,
there's nothing factual about that. There's nothing factual about that. That's
because we haven't had, and I'm with them a lot more times than you are. And I haven't had them saying anything like that.
Okay, Moses will finish this up and I'll give you a round to just talk about the way forward.
Let's be honest to Kenyans.
Honorable Wahome, this is a message from David Morade. He's just texted and said, please ask Alice, how come they have never held a NEC meeting or a PG meeting since they chased me? And he's using quote-unquote when he's saying the word chase. Since they chased me from the party, because when I interviewed him here, he said he was never chased from the party.
Actually, he was not chased by me.
It's okay.
Or by us.
Let me just finish. So he's just saying.
Yeah, that's one question.
How come they have never held a NEC meeting or a PG meeting since they quote-unquote chased me from the party? Also, if they are the government today and the rest are the opposition, why the obsession with 2022 instead of delivering the mandate so that they can be re-elected in 2022? What is it that they cannot do now that they will do in 2023?
First and foremost, Murade was never elected by anybody. He was appointed to be in that office. He should be grateful that we actually also funded the party, because every month all members of parliament contribute 10,000. You never had a problem with
so
he should not be speaking to me like that, because when you are the vice chair also, you actually...
He's no longer the vice chair.
He's no longer the vice chair.
Yeah.
When you were, you know, he's referring to since he left.
Yes.
Some of the problems we are going through, he's the one who planted. We should be dealing with...
But elected and appointed should not make a difference, of course, in terms of
status. No, hold on.
Hussein, you just said Murade
was appointed for the position
Yeah.
of the party.
It doesn't make him
And
any
you-
less of a person than compared to a person who is elected.
It does, because he does not speak for the people, the members of the party.
But you have entrusted him with the party position of vice
Who
chair.
elected him?
Either way, okay. That's what under the
I
green.
think, Hussein, you need to understand the party mechanisms. How do you get leaders to represent members, the grassroots people, membership and officials? There is a difference of membership. Parties actually should belong to the members, and then elect officials to represent them, to speak for them. I don't know who he was working for, actually.
Okay. But you have
he
a problem
was
now.
nevertheless
Yeah.
the vice chair. He's asking,
Yeah.
how come we have never met? Because, of course, even when he was there was no planning, there was nothing being done to enable the party to meet. I cannot myself, I wish I can call a PG. I have no authority to call the PG. There are people with authority to call the PG.
But you can find a way to call the PG. There are efforts. You
An
can talk to the
MP
whip.
cannot call a PG.
No, of course not. But I'm saying there's a caucus. You can talk to
We
other
have
MPs and you can
spoken
find
enough,
a way.
and I think we are speaking to the walls
Yeah.
and saying,
Yeah.
call a PG.
Okay.
We have said it in public rallies.
I don't want to-
Moses has said it.
Yeah.
Ngunjiri has also said
Okay,
it.
no, me, I actually
Yeah.
don't think we need a PG.
You don't think you need a PG?
Exactly.
Despite all this that is happening?
Yes,
Honorable-
these are the
Wambugu?
problems.
Me, I don't think we need a PG.
Okay. I think tongue-in-cheek, I'll interpret this at the risk of Murade getting angry with me.
Yes.
I think tongue-in-cheek when he's saying, how come you've never called
knows
for...
why.
Let me just finish. How come you've never held a NEC meeting or a PG since they, quote-unquote, chased me from the party? The party's in shambles.
He was unruly, he insulted...
He's saying, I mean, you're doing badly without him. In other words, isn't it?
we were doing
That's
worse
what he could be
because
saying.
he was chased because of insubordination,
Okay.
because of giving himself powers that he did not have. How
There's
do you-
that version that he was chased and there's that version that he
resigned.
did
resigned.
not
Okay, he said he
resign.
resigned.
He was asked for the letter of
Honorable-
resignation.
Honorable
No,
Moses
when you are
Kenya.
appointed the same way,
Zen.
you are sacked.
Zin, this is a discussion. It is so lofty. It is so up there in terms of importance for our current and
Very
future.
important.
It is beyond Murade.
How do you solve this?
And that
So
is-
there
How
were
do you
four
solve
ways.
this?
Four ways. One, on Friday myself.
Murade is a viewer, so he was just
Yeah,
asking a question.
It's
So-
okay. He's
On Friday, like Ngunjiri did today, I'm going to present my views in Kiambu to BBI. Yeah? But I don't believe that BBI is going to solve this
solution.
problem. It's not the solution. I will do my civic duty, I will present, but it's not the solution. You know,
So you'll participate in a handshake?
let me come there, my friend. Yeah?
So
Let me come
BBI
there.
is handshake.
So making it-
No,
It is.
if the BBI is a handshake, there's nothing wrong with a handshake. But we need to clean some things in terms of the perception. Handshake is the best thing that... Can you imagine where we would be as a country? Running battles every day? Can you imagine? Can somebody look at... Anyway, it is the misinterpretations and the misconceptions that are wrong. Two, I want to beseech my very good friend Raila Odinga to study the podium. The way Uhuru Kenyatta stood in Kasarani and called his troops to order, to call Badi to order, who think this is about living, endorsing someone, to call Joho to order,
completely
to
agree
say,
with you.
because how come Raila never speaks to his people the way Uhuru speaks to his people? How come Orengo keeps saying, "Hii kitu naachia Raila"? How come my good friend Raila does not speak out?
But is that
How come
not
does not
politics?
tell of Joho?
It's not not
Is that
politics.
leadership?
Or
Is
how
that
come-
statesmanship?
How come, Honorable Wambugu, you don't make noise
No,
about that?
no,
Because
no,
that's
yeah.
one side of the
Yeah.
handshake. But
We
that's one side of
were
the
told,
Yeah, it's
we
one
were
side
told
of the
it's
handshake.
about two
By the way,
people.
I actually made the point
Yeah.
that the people who are going around, even from ODM,
Yeah.
trying to use this
Yeah.
handshake to campaign,
Because that's when
are
the
making
misconception
much of a
of
mistake
and-
as Tanga people.
Let me do something.
I made that point.
Those high expectations. If Raila does not do anything about those expectations that I see is in some of his quotas,
we will still
2022, we are headed for another disaster. Three, it did not make Moi weak to go to Kasarani in 1991 and hold a PG. It was actually a delegate conference. These two, I know most of you are not happy with it, but you'll do it. I want really to ask the man I respect most in this country, Uhuru Kenyatta.
As the way forward.
Yeah, as a way forward. And by the way, Alice, it's not about Uhuru. You are a member, I'm a member. And tomorrow I'm going to write to Rafael Tuju, asking for a National Delegates Conference to discuss one issue, the handshake, and adopt it as a party. How come we are not doing it?
1.5 years later.
Yeah, how come we are not doing it ourselves? We are not asking Uhuru. And we have got members who can do that.
That's what I was asking you, Honorable.
Why can't we ask for it?
You see,
Yeah,
I
and
don't
then we are
want to
denied.
sit here on a national television and say that it will be convened because I've asked for it.
Why can't we try? And
Because
then we say, we tried, and it didn't happen.
We have
If,
done
let me do
documents.
something, Alice. If you try, you might fail. If you don't try, you'll
You
definitely
still
fail.
fail.
Okay.
Definitely fail.
So that's
finally, Mount Kenya, let's stop all this. Jameni. We are not going to get our voters better by Kieleweke, Tangataga, and all this. I really want to ask, truly, my friend, Ndio tufanyie Wajiko kazi.
But, you know, as my final comment would be this, Hussein, I think, first and foremost, I really, really also agree on the first point. I wish, as leaders from Mount Kenya region, we would just stop completely. Stop campaign, stop campaigning for anyone, stop campaigning against anyone.
Don't campaign for me.
Even for Moses. We all don't stop, we don't campaign for anyone. And agree that for the next 1 year, 1.5 years, the next 1.5 years, we are just going to focus on delivering what it is that Mount Kenya people need. Okay. Second thing, I think it is also going to be important for us to agree as a party that we are in a crisis right now, as a party.
So it's important to me, it's important
yes,
to address this.
The solutions about how to address the crisis we are in are things we can only discuss once we stop the noise. For as long as we are running in two different directions.
They think the noise will only stop if you address it through a meeting with the party.
Yeah, okay. It's one way. I'm saying it's one way.
And we can do it ourselves.
It's one way. Because we can also go there.
Is our leader, yes, but he's a member as I am a member. So let us try to convene, and then we are stopped in the pursuit of such a conference.
My final comment.
As I said, Governor Waiguru has appointed herself. She's actually said she's ready to do it.
Talk is cheap.
She's ready to do it.
Let's do something practical.
She's saying she's ready to do it and bring everybody together.
That's still her trying to take over Uhuru's mandate.
I think you need a mandate.
It's too early.
Yeah, no. You need a mandate.
It's too early. I mean, we still have...
I mean, see, he's...
Too early for what?
Kuria has just said anybody can now come in.
Too early for what?
You see,
it's too early
what
for
I understood Waiguru saying wasn't that. How she was saying she's going to convene us. That role, that mandate hasn't moved from Uhuru Kenyatta yet.
You know, he said it's finally, too early. Could Anne Waiguru be one of the candidates?
I don't know.
Let me move from there. She's my
I don't know. Me, I'm still stuck at finishing.
Why did you say
finishing with Uhuru.
Why did you say that about your good friend?
He said it is too early. So I wanted him to confirm.
I'm still stuck at finishing.
Because he said they have no candidate.
Okay. Finally, yeah.
I don't understand how a PG can be called without involving the party leader and the deputy party leader. You can propose and ask for the meeting to be called. Because, you know, when you understand the party mechanisms, then you will understand the need for the party leader to be there. Because some of these issues and suspicions actually are created by even people and fight by other people, even for and on behalf, fake for and on behalf of the president. But finally, you are a general manager or the chairman of a corporation, and then you want to tell the workers to call for a meeting and make resolutions and pass decisions without the general manager's presence or blessings. I think you'll go nowhere.
Okay, we'll have to leave it at that. And this is a discussion, obviously, that will go on in days to come. A lot still to happen in Kenya's politics, but it's only getting interesting. But thank you so much. Kandara MP, Alice Wahome, Gatundu South's Moses Kuria, and Ngunjiri Wambugu, Member of Parliament, Nyeri Town. Did you have a problem with him being a presidential, announcing that he wants to fight for presidency?
It's too early.
Is it you also have a problem with him?
It's too early.
Only not very loud with him.
Yeah, you see, he's not very loud. I don't know for what reason.
It's have to work.
Yeah.
It's have to work.
Okay, text us, but he's saying he wants to be. Text us on number 242. On Twitter is the hashtag. We're back with the final sample of your feedback after this break.